Hey, church family, happy Tuesday. Once again, I'm going to be bringing you the words of encouragement. And today, I've been in many meetings today and and conversations throughout the day. Even ended my day at 9:30 with also another meeting with my adult leaders for student ministry. And there has been a question throughout today. It's been a constant. And this question is, what have you learned? It started out with this webinar that I watched today with our staff. And the webinar was filled with church leaders and pastors. And that was one of the questions. And that question just went constantly throughout the day. And I just been thinking about, what have you learned? And I just started to go through some of the general things that I've learned during this quarantine. And one of them is in ministry. I've learned, the digital platform, whether it be, like these videos or YouTube or Facebook Live, and even our virtual hangout places like Zoom. And I've learned that. I've learned to, be at least equipped with a little bit of this new type of way of communication and interaction. And then I started to bring it home, like what I've learned at home. Okay, well, I've learned to cook a couple of new dishes for my family, and at the same time, did some minor repair work at home. I say minor because I don't want to ruin my house. And I've learned little things during this quarantine. And then I started to think, okay, so what have I learned in my relationship with God during this time? And I realized in this time of uncertainty that we all are experiencing, I've learned a new way of trusting God. Not to say I found a new way of trusting God, but during this time. And the things that we've been doing as a church and the way that we've been connecting with our messages and all of the new ways of doing ministry, I just been trusting in God in these moments that God's word will still go out and make great impact, even if they're not coming to church, but they're listening. And I've been encouraged by even our student ministry since the second week of our quarantine, is that we constantly have been meeting together on Zoom and our life groups. And it's just been amazing to see God and the faces in those Zooms that you would probably think, oh, that's exciting, that person was in Zoom. And that's exciting that student is joining the life group still. And it's just been an amazing time. And the trust that I have in God allowed me to see a different way of looking at my trust in God. And I want to walk us through just two verses that we probably all heard of and read before, and it's Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. It says this: trust in the Lord with all of your heart. And I want to just stop there. And when we think about trusting in the Lord with all of our heart, it's basically saying, I'm going to trust in God and put my full faith and trust and lean on Him without a doubt. But here's part of the problem when we say that. God knows that when we do that, there's always a hesitation on our part. Why? Is because because in this proverb it says, do not lean on your own understanding. I believe this proverb is reminding us is that when we put our full faith and we lean on God fully, He says to trust Him fully. Don't lean on your own understanding. Don't try to add your input to the trust that you need to have in God. Just trust that God. Just trust in God, in who He is. Because He even says this next verse. He says in verse 6, in all your ways acknowledge Him. Acknowledge Him how? You have to acknowledge that He is God and His ways are higher than our ways. And then it says this, and He will make straight your path. You see, church family, a lot of times what we are experiencing during this time of uncertainty and this time of this is so unique to us, is that the trust that we need to have is to trust Him fully, not partially, but fully, and to acknowledge that we serve a God that knows best and that can see down the way far beyond what we can ever see, and he can be trusted. So church family, one of my encouragement for us today is trust him with all of your heart today. Have a great day, guys.